Good evening, ghouls and goblins, and welcome to the end of the world. We have a little bonus episode tonight where we are doing another one of our little matchups. We did one of these at the beginning of the month. This is in March now. If you're listening in the future, welcome from the past. Hopefully things were better. Probably not. Hopefully we're all still alive. And Master Blaster, and I think we're calling him the Big Wormy. Is that what we're calling him now?
I don't think he deserves a Y. That makes it sound cute.
I'm here with my wife, by the way. I probably should have started off with that, but we're only 30 seconds in, so I feel like it's still within the realm of like, oh yeah, Miranda's here. Say hi.
I am here.
She is here. She's the one who's going to be filling out our answering our question tonight that I'm going to ask her. And the question tonight is going to be, what is the best horror movie of all time? And we're moving away from talking about Master Blaster, which is Donald Trump, for those who are not familiar with who we're talking about. We call him Master Blaster here. Donald Trump and Elon Musk, a mutual pair, a little combo pack we get. And Robert Kennedy Jr. is who we call the Big Wormy. And so if you're listening in the future, hopefully things are better with those gentlemen, because right now it's a little fucky around these parts. So what better way to entertain ourselves than talking about some horror movies? Oh, we apparently have a cat fight happening. That's fun.
Who's Denny mad at?
I got my money on Denzel.
Oh, yeah, that was Denny.
He's going to beat the shit out of somebody. All right, well. Hey, don't bark. We don't want the dogs to bark.
Denny, you want mama?
There you go. I might edit this out, I might not. We'll find out. So, tonight is similar to the March Madness one we did, where we looked at a bunch of cult movies. There, however, though, we ran into some problems where Miranda had not seen some of those movies. Similarly, whenever Travis did one for our Spotify bonus episode, he also had not seen some of those movies. So this time...
I feel like that was a sled on your part. You maybe should have,
I just assume
I
just assume everyone has seen all 64 of these movies that I have seen. I'm sorry that no one. I'm just apparently no one watches enough bad movies. It's just me. So this time we are doing horror movies, and you have seen every single one of these. And
tested and approved.
And the other difference is with March we had 4 categories. And here we're doing 6 categories because they're horror movies, so 666, number of the beast. That's cute, yeah. And so our categories tonight are slasher, comedy horror, classics, possession movies, demonic and otherwise, creature feature, and so bad it's good. So you'll notice that there's a notable exclusion, which is zombie movies. Mostly because whenever we come time for Halloween, we're going to do a big review of all of the George Romero zombie movies. Feels like a good time to probably revisit this gimmick then with a zombie movie bracket where we can kind of come down to it. And the other reason we're really doing this is because both times we've done this with both you and Travis, y'all's final 4 were both very almost very kind of predictive of your personalities in both senses. Travis had 4 big dude bro movies and realized in that moment that, I'm more of a dude bro than I realized. And that was kind of funny to see. And then your 4 were also I think if I could describe your personality in 4 movies, those would be those 4. So I'm interested with these 6 horror movies, which ones you have, which one they come down to. So I guess we'll just get started. Now, the category, or the movies that I'm drawing from were those categories, which are slasher, comedy, classics, possession, creature feature, and so bad they're good. Who they're paired up against is kind of a little bit more randomized because they're just kind of just making fun matchups here. So, let's start. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so some of these we're probably going to have to discuss a little, because some of them are some tough matchups. I tried to intentionally put some hard ones. First one, Alien versus Prometheus.
Alien.
Okay. So that one's pretty obvious because Prometheus is not a very good movie.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, does my husband think that's a great movie? Should we have had this conversation at some point?
Some people really like it. I really don't like Prometheus, but I think that's just because I really enjoy all the Alien movies, and so I kind of view that one as being really, really bad. It kind of stands out like a sore thumb compared to even some of the other bad Alien movies. But next one, The Thing versus Predator.
No, that's a little hard.
That's a little harder, yeah. Now, some context for those of you that have never spoken to my wife or don't know her. There are some things that she does like and does not like in horror movies. And there are some things that will immediately disqualify certain movies. So before you rush to judgment, anything that involves like animal abuse, that's going to be probably a hard pass, dog.
I know it's not real. I don't give a shit. It's never necessary for the story.
And anything that involves like prolonged rape scenes,
not
also
into it.
Or like sexual abuse scenes, also probably.
Before anyone comes at me, I've watched all the movies. I've seen Hannibal Holocaust or whatever it was. Yeah, it's just not my vibe. And then the older I get, like I'm just too soft now. Like I'm just too soft. I just do not need to live a hard life these days. I don't need to think that much.
So
I don't need to be that sad.
I say that because The Thing does have the scene involving the dogs, which is one of the major reasons why we don't watch that movie all that much, is because there is that scene that involves the dogs. So The Thing versus the Predator, does that just mean the Predator wins because of the dogs?
I mean, the Predator, if you remember, does kill animals.
He does. I did, yeah, there is that too.
But he also loves to kill men, so...
He does kill a lot of men.
He kills more men.
He does. He does kill himself.
If we're weighing...
The two do even out, so the Predator wins that one?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, so I'm get rid of The Thing. Get out of here, John Carpenter. You will show back up again later. This one's a classic. The original Godzilla versus Cloverfield.
Cloverfield on that one.
Huh. Okay.
I'm not the biggest Godzilla fan, to be honest.
Wow. Dominic somewhere is crying. He loves. I mean, his whole podcast is about that kind of the whole gimmick there. And I love me a good Godzilla movie. I specifically love the original Godzilla and some of the ones that kind of came from that. They get kind of silly and wacky, and not all of them are even so good they're bad. They're just kind of silly, but they're always a fun time.
More of a King Kong girl.
Next one, he'll show up later. Monster Squad versus Carrie.
That is a very tough choice. Because Carrie was the name of my first card. She was a purple Saturn. I think I'm going to go with Carrie on that one. I love a feminine revenge.
That's true.
I've also been saying, like, the word dirty pillows for 3 decades now.
So far, I underlined in green what I chose, and I'm highlighting in black what you chose. And so far, we have agreed on only one of these. So that's interesting.
That makes sense. I have far better taste.
The Faculty versus Toxic Avenger.
I know.
Getting some assistance from LL Cool J over here.
What do you think? That's a real tough choice. The Faculty is one of Mama's guilty pleasures.
It is a good movie.
Oh, them kids alone.
You gotta leave them kids alone. It's got Jon Stewart, Josh Hartnett, Usher. Before the allegations.
I think we know our answer.
Usher? Okay, you're going with the Faculty.
Before the allegations.
Next is Mimic versus Night of the Creeps.
I think I'm going to have to go with Night of the Creeps. That's one of my favorites. It's a classic.
It's true. It's a good one. Next one, the numbers don't matter. They Live versus Signs.
They Live.
Alrighty. And next, Prey versus The Fly.
No.
It's a tough one.
I know. That's very hard.
You really liked The Prey. You've watched it recently too.
Yeah.
It's good. It is very, very good.
That's actually like much harder than it should be.
Oh, also we have some play-in matchups later as well, just like March Madness does, where there's like a little mini tournament within the tournament. Because why the hell not? I had a lot of free time on my hands.
I'm going to go with Prey based on the fact that I just watch it more. I mean, we watch They Live like maybe like once or twice a year, you know?
Fly. So They Live was the last one you chose.
Wait, you're right. I meant to say The Fly.
Yeah,
sorry.
The Fly. Yeah. And I'm talking about David Cronenberg's The Fly, not the original Fly from way back in the day with Vincent Price, I think. I'm talking about the Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, I was going to say Jeff Goldblum one.
Jeffy.
All right, next one. Hopefully my pen doesn't die. Otherwise, this will be a little harder. Troll 2 versus Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. They're going to eat me, and then they're going to eat you.
It's very hard because I love trolls and I love Christmas.
Well, you think for a minute, and I'm going to look for another pen while this one, because it is already dying. So.
There's one in my purse.
Yes, continue vamping, as they say. Troll 2, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
I think I'm going to go with Troll 2.
Troll 2, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
It was a tough choice.
I went with Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 because I love Christmas and I love horror movies, and the two crisscross
and there aren't many like Christmas horror movies.
No, and it's also one of the few movies that my grandmother, who I've mentioned several times on the show, the one who was Bible I have on her mantle. It's one of the few movies that she protested. Yes, my grandmother.
What a nerd, Grandma.
My grandmother protested a few. I don't know why I went to open your wallet.
I don't know. There's nothing in there.
Yeah, my grandmother protested a few movies in her lifetime, and that was one of them. I don't know. It was not a successful protest. And she also protested the first one. And what was the other one? Oh, okay. And she also protested, the William Dafoe, Martin Scorsese, Last Temptation of Christ. That was another one that she protested. So, but you know, both of those all of those movies I actually enjoy. So. Hopefully I'm not smited by her one day. So you went with Troll 2.
I did.
All right, next one. Human Centipede versus Ernest Scared Stupid.
I think I'm going to go with my Ernest. I love my Ernest, and that is my favorite of all of the Ernest.
Another one that we agreed on. Okay, so we're not...
Mother's milk.
Mother's milk. All right, this one I feel like I know the answer to right away, but I'm just going to ask it. Descent versus The Sixth Sense.
You know the answer.
Descent, yeah. You really, really love that movie.
It is, man, I will never go in a damn cave, though. You'll never catch me in a cave.
No, spelunking is terrifying. I fell down a rabbit hole where I watched a bunch of spelunking videos on YouTube. And a lot of them, the guys are always like, your body will never put itself in a position it can't get itself out of.
Mine will.
And I was every time I watch it, I'm like, I beg to differ. I feel like I will get myself fucking stuck,
I feel like some dead
panic, and then die.
People might also not agree.
Well, apparently, yeah, there's they that's the thing in the videos. They'll look at the people that get stuck and die and explain what accidents they took to get how that happened. And I don't know why that interested me for that particular weekend, but it did. Next one is Green Room versus Get Out.
Green Room.
All right. Reanimator versus Bride of Reanimator.
I'm an OG girl.
Oh. See, I went with Bride of Reanimator. I think that one is one of the movies where the sequel is actually better than the original. But.
I think also, in the days of MySpace, my MySpace name was The Reanimator. What a soft spot.
That is a good movie. It is a good movie. It is a classic. Abigail versus Blair Witch Project.
I'm a Blair Witch girl.
See, I went with Abigail. I really enjoyed that movie. It was very silly.
Movie.
It was very, very
silly.
Yeah,
but that's
no. Abigail was the one with the she's the vampire that does the ballerina.
Oh, actually, that's tough. Yeah.
Abigail's the ballerina vampire.
I did really enjoy that movie.
With the Elon Musk look-alike dude.
Yeah, it had a lot of jump scares.
It does have a lot of jump scares. It goes through a lot of twists and turns.
It does.
Because you think she's going to die, and then she's not
What's
dead.
my other option? I totally forgot.
Abigail or Blair Witch Project?
I think I have to go with Abigail.
All right.
I was thinking of Annabelle.
That one shows up later, I do believe. So, next one is another one that I think will be tough for you. We both fell in love with this movie upon our first watching. Rockula versus Leprechaun in the Hood.
Oh, no. An OG favorite and a new classic.
It is. Hello, Nelly.
They were both so campy.
Oh, you're upset for some reason.
Come here, baby.
Why are you mad? Don't be mad.
I think I'm gonna have to go with, the Hood.
Leprechaun in the Hood? That's fair. For those of you that haven't seen Rockula, for one, it's usually on Tubi for free. Hopefully it is still. If it's not, find it online for free. The buying it on DVD or Blu-ray has become very expensive. It used to not be. Actually, like years ago, I remember I watched the trailer of it, and then I just bought it on Amazon for like $15, and we watched it together. And when we gets to the scene where his mom starts dancing, it's like one of the best movies of all time right there. Like it immediately becomes so good. Next up is Repo the Genetic Opera and versus Frankenhooker.
You know the answer to.
Hey, thanks for giving us a listen, and hopefully you're enjoying what you're hearing. Every single week we do a podcast where we look at some of the best and worst movies about the end of the world. It's called Welcome to the End of the World Podcast, and you can check it out every single week. Give it a listen. We've talked about all kinds of stupid nonsense at this point. Currently, we are going through all of the Left Behind movies, and dear God, has that been a task, a Herculean task, to say the least. So if you're enjoying our video game playthrough, try giving a few of our podcast episodes a listen. I think you'll have a good time. Thank you. Bye.
You see, Mommy.
And we are back. Sorry. Apparently my loving little orange cat, who y'all have heard before on several episodes screaming, he decided to go pick a fight with one of the other cats for some reason. And that was what a big commotion was. And we had to go immediately spray them with water to get them to stop fighting.
It's Matt's cat, and he's out of Prozac.
He is a cat who is on Prozac, and he has been off of it for a little while because, his script he has to go back in to get his script refilled, and we just haven't had the opportunity to do that, and it has been something we need to take care of immediately because he is very, very much in need of it.
He's currently an asshole.
He is kind of a butthead when he is off of his medicine and right now he's also galloping around the house, so he might get into more fights and more arguments. I don't really know what his deal is currently. He's looking for something to do. And
he's also 22 pounds, so he is just a straight bully.
He is a big, big, big orange cat. Imagine Garfield if he was less fat and more of just kind of like big and like
angry.
Wanted to pick a fight with people, like a Jersey Shore Garfield. Okay. Like if Garfield and The Situation crossed. Like something like that. That's kind of what this cat is, you know. T-shirt time. All right, so where we left off was you picking Frankenhooker. All right, next up, I can't talk. This is one of our play-ins here, so this one you get to choose before, and it'll end up in the tournament here in a second. So, Bride of Frankenstein versus Interview with the Vampire.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay, and Village of the Damned versus Night of the Living Dead. One of the only zombie movies on this list.
I'm going to go with Night of the Living Dead.
Nice. Night of the Living Dead versus Bride of Frankenstein.
Night of the Living Dead.
All right, so Night of the Living Dead has won its way into the tournament, so it'll end up in a matchup here in just a minute. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari versus Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow.
See, I went with Dr. Cabinet of Caligari.
That makes sense.
I love that movie.
Well, that makes sense for you.
Rosemary's Baby versus Reinfeld.
Reinfeld.
You like that one?
I do. I think it's adorable.
Yeah. I don't think you're a big Rosemary's Baby fan. I think that's one of the few possession movies that you don't like. But it's kind of a slow burner.
It's kind of slow. I've seen it a million times.
And it's got Roman Polanski.
Yeah, he's kind of creepy.
Yeah. That's the other thing. We talked about animal violence. If a director or actor is notoriously known for being kind of a sex pest or just a serial rapist at this point, let's just call them what they are, probably also going to result in some points being deducted. Does not mean a complete, removal if it's a classic, but
it's gotta be real special for me to overlook that shit. I got some strong moral compass.
Yeah. Creature from the Black Lagoon versus Frankenstein.
I'm a creature feature gal.
Creature feature. Yeah, these are some of the classic ones as you're seeing here. Wolfman versus Dracula. So I put a lot of the classics together because if you take the classics and immediately pair them up against like modern ones, then it's kind of either the modern one easily beats it because of its like relevancy, or the classic wins out because like of how long it's been around.
I mean, I did name Bella after.
Oh, I know. So
Bella.
with Dracula. We should have named Orange after the Wolfman. He's kind of like the Wolfman.
Should have named him after a pile of shit.
He's not that bad. He's
asshole.
got several names.
To 100% disclosure, I did not want to adopt him. We have enough pets. He is cute. He would have been adopted super fast. Someone would have loved his neuroses.
Yeah, well, that someone is me. I got a special bond with this cat.
Yeah, and now he picks a fight with my little orange girl. Yeah, you're a dick.
Yeah,
Constantly.
that's him in the back screaming. If you hear that, that's how he communicates sometimes. So
no talk, only scrim.
Yeah, only scrim. So I'm sorry about that if you hear that. Normally you guys don't hear that because half the time the reason he is upstairs with me is because he is downstairs screaming, and for some reason letting him upstairs is the only thing that makes him happy. If you came to us through TikTok, one of the TikToks I recorded way back when was like a video of him trying to get in the attic, and one person commented like, "Oh, you got rats or squirrels up there," and I was like, "No." Our attic is actually fully carpeted, and like it's like a whole subfloor living
fully
arrangement.
Finished.
It has a AC unit. It's got a window. Like it's got everything you need up there.
It's nicer than our last house.
Yeah, our cat just likes to go up there and roll around on the carpet because we don't have carpet anywhere else in the house.
He's never had carpet,
and he has never had carpet in any other house he's been in. So he's obsessed with carpet. And that's what he screams about. So sometimes we let him up there, but sometimes we don't because we also don't really want him just up there rolling around on the carpet all day long. So yeah, such are the woes of being a pet owner. Back to the list: The Mummy versus Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and this is the original Mummy, not the Brendan Fraser Mummy. Because I don't really think of that as a horror movie. I think of that as like an action movie, like Indiana Jones, with like horror elements in it, but it's not horror.
It's also never my first thought when it comes to the Mummy.
That's true. Neither am I talking about the Tom Cruise remake where he gets mummy powers. That is also... I
did think you were talking about that one.
No. God, no. I'm good. I don't need that in my life. Not that I'm a Tom Cruise hater. I actually like some Tom Cruise movies.
Invasions of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, I went with that one too. Okay, next one. Nosferatu versus Carnival of Souls. Same thing. This is the original Nosferatu, not the recent remake that just came out.
You know the answer. I love my German expressionism.
So we're going with Nosferatu?
Yes.
Okay. The next one is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde versus The Shining.
The Shining.
All right. I like that movie. It's a pretty clear answer. A lot of people do not like that movie, but I think that those people just are people that kind of are obsessed with the book and how the book is vastly different than the movie. And it is. If you like the book, watch this. The miniseries was kind of closer to the book. So this is where we get to our matchup you already picked, kind of. So Salem's Lot versus Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. That is such a very good movie, full of political allegories galore. Okay, so that's one half done. So now we go to the other half, and then we'll kind of come back and forth as we get to the end where you have your final 666. The number of the beast. Okay. Strangeland versus Terrifier.
Strangeland. That's genuinely one of the best movies of all time.
You love you some Dee Snider.
Oh, I actually on TikTok saw like a Gen Zer finding Strangeland.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's funny when people figure out that how many heavy metal guys made horror movies back in the day, because there's a lot of them. Like Ozzy had a horror movie, Gene Simmons did a horror movie, Dee Snider did a horror movie.
I feel like Dee Snider definitely did it better than any of the former mentioned.
I think the guys from Rat show up in a horror movie. Like there's all kinds of like weird little crossovers that existed. A lot of those bands lived in LA, so like, a lot of the movie producers were going to the clubs in LA, and I feel like that's kind of how they got that. Speaking of LA, both of these movies I think were shot there. Slumber Party Massacre 2 and Chopping Mall.
Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Yeah.
Rockin' the Road.
That's the one I went with too. Chopping Mall is a very, very fun movie, but Slumber Party Massacre 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. Candyman, the original, versus Sleepaway Camp.
No.
And I'll say the original. I don't know if there's a remake of Sleepaway Camp, but there might be. I don't know.
I hear you looking for Candyman, bitch.
You going with Candyman?
I don't know. That's genuinely like... I'm going to have to deduct Candyman for dog points.
There's that. Sleepaway Camp, I don't want to spoil the ending of it because it does have,
yes.
It does have a twist
If you
ending.
haven't seen it, you should.
Yeah, it has one of those twist endings that you kind of remember forever after you've seen it. I went with Sleepaway Camp. Just, I don't know to sway you, but... Oh. No, one of our cats is throwing it.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
been one of those nights. He's okay. He's got a hairball. He's an old Betty boy. So he's got hairball problem. Oh, and there he goes. Okay, he's okay now.
Sorry, Baba.
Yeah, he says, I'm going to go walk that off. Nelly, stop trying to follow him. Now our dog wants to help him.
Not on the rug.
2 moments later.
So we were talking about Candyman versus Sleepaway Camp before we were interrupted by a cat needing to be attended to for the umpteenth time. This is what happens when you are a millennial in your 30s and decide not to have kids and instead to adopt a bunch of animals. And it involves you kind of having to end up kind of doing a lot of the same stuff you would have probably had to do if you had kids.
Also,
except less diaper changing, more just wiping just straight buttholes, just no diaper, just cleaning a butthole, because the dog or cat can't be bothered for some reason.
Also, 2 of our babies are 15 this month,
They are.
They're starting to show little signs. They're still in great health. They have great blood work.
Yeah,
but
which is nice.
You know.
Yeah, it's kind of a blessing.
Then he gets more hairballs. He doesn't clean himself as well as he used to.
He doesn't, which is always fun, because then he just throws up sometimes. And it's fun to go pick it up.
You would think he would throw up less if he wasn't cleaning himself.
So, did you ever decide between Candyman and Sleepaway Camp?
I decided on Sleepaway Camp because Candyman had dog points deducted.
Okay, so Sleepaway Camp it is. Okay, next one. Friday the 13th, the first one, the original, versus I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Okay. This is where I had to be very specific on certain ones, because if I just say Friday the 13th, then it's like the entire series of movies.
I would never think
so
that.
I also tried not to go to like choose specific ones, because I don't remember which Friday the 13th I like more, whether it's this one or that one, like 3 versus 4. I remember certain ones, like I remember Jason Takes New York, Jason X, Jason Goes to Hell.
Jason Goes to Space.
Jason, yeah. Mostly the bad ones are the ones that stick out in my mind. So we'll see one of those pop up later on. I think.
do love Freddy versus Jason, though.
That one's a fun time.
That's probably one of my
That one's a fun time. That's one of those DVDs that's kind of fun to find, because it's one of those movies that is not always streaming and is kind of hard to find sometimes. Next one, Halloween, the original, not the Rob Zombie remake or the other remake, or probably the other remake they're doing. Versus The Hills Have Eyes, the original, not the other remake.
I'm gonna definitely go with Michael Myers.
You're gonna go with the original Halloween,
Yeah.
That's fair. I actually, of all of like the old like slasher movies, 80s horror movies, 70s kind of stuff, The Hills Have Eyes is one of my least favorite movies.
I do actually like the remakes.
Yeah, even those I just have a hard time with. I think it's mostly because like that movie is set like kind of in like the West Texas, middle of nowhere shithole, and I grew up there, and so a lot of that
biased.
A lot of it is just like a lot of these people I've met people like this. Like this movie is a little bit too much like, no, this could happen to me at some point. Like if I stumbled into the wrong motel, but no. Not my favorite movie. I do like the remakes more than the original. I do think they were better than the original, but next one, the original Nightmare on Elm Street versus Scream. Also, the original Scream.
That is very, very, very tough because,
Yeah.
That's, 2 of my faves right there.
Uh-huh.
Freddy was a pedophile.
That is the implication that they lay down for you to
I don't
apply.
think that was an implication.
Well, they make it very clear in the remake. I think in the original they kind of leave it a little bit more ambiguous, but you're able to put together kind of that's what's going on. Yeah, so you're going to go with Scream because there's no pedophilia reference?
No, I'm going with Nightmare because I loved it. Well, I don't know, but I like it because she's like, Mommy killed Freddy.
It's true.
But then it's like Freddy pops back up, you know.
He does pop back up. He doesn't die ever, really.
I enjoy the fact that they are trying to kill a pedophile, though.
That is true.
I think I might go with Scream. Too complicated.
Too complicated. Just like
if I gotta think that much about it.
Just like Avril Lavigne. All right, next one: Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 versus Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
You know the answer to this. It's always Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
I figured. It's fun to throw it in there, though. Next one: Longlegs versus Silence of the Lambs.
No.
Yeah, movie that it has been compared to since it came out. Kind of a fair comparison, but there are a lot of differences.
Really? I don't see it at all.
Like they're both movies about FBI agents investigating like a serial killer there's like some, but Silence has a lot less occult stuff than Longlegs does. Longlegs is filmed more like a art movie than Silence of the Lambs is, which is more of like just a standard Hollywood movie. But yeah, they get a lot of comparison.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Silence of the Lambs. It's
classic. There's a lot to it,
It's also like in my top probably like 5 movies of all time. It's also mine and Evelyn's best friendship movie.
See, it's a movie that I didn't really put on the list at first because I never considered it a horror movie.
Okay.
But everywhere I look,
did you not hear what Minx said?
I did, but everywhere online, very clearly, like there's a very clear consensus. It seems like that it is considered a horror movie. So I'm like, all right, well, if most people say it's a horror movie, I'll call it a horror movie. I just meant like the way it's paced, the way it's filmed, like its impulses seem a bit more like kind of like a Hollywood drama movie as opposed to like what I imagine as a horror movie. It doesn't go for as many like shocks. It's more of like a paced and kind of like a different way.
You and I find different things shocking, apparently.
It's true, probably. Next one, we move into a different category. This one's going to have some hard ones. The Exorcist versus The Ring. And I'm talking about the American, not the Japanese Ringu, which is, I think, a better movie.
Exorcist.
I don't really like The Ring all that much.
It's not my favorite. It's okay to watch every 10 years.
The first time I saw it, I really liked it, and then it got very, very popular, and I saw it in theaters a bunch with a bunch of friends. And after watching it, and then watching it at the home when people bought it on, when it finally came out, and everyone wanted to watch it and on their VHSs or on their DVD players, I got kind of bored of watching it, and I don't think it's held up very well, but. I also don't like the second one that some people really like. I have different tastes than others, as you pointed out, so perhaps I'm wrong. Here's a movie that was just in the news recently because one of the actresses kind of was talking about why she thinks it didn't make any money. Jennifer's Body versus Evil Dead 2.
Jennifer's Body.
I'm upset. Get out of here, Bruce Campbell. You had your time. Night of the Demons versus The Fallen.
Night of the Demons.
Night of the Demons.
It is tough, though.
One of the few Denzel Washington horror movies. He's not in
and
very
also
many.
Our cat, Denzel Washington.
He is named after.
him.
Yeah, that's true. Demons versus Wicker Man, the original, not the Nicolas Cage remake.
Two favorites.
Uh-huh.
Two favorites.
See, I prefer Demons 2 to Demons.
I do too, but...
Just because I like that it takes place in a high-rise apartment. And I first watched it while I lived in a high-rise apartment. So I kind of had extra...
No, I should take it back. I still like the OG. It's whimsical.
Movie theater one? Yeah. A little bit of a different setup.
I'm gonna go with the Wicker Man on that one.
Wicker Man. Another very, very good movie. Some folk horror. Stigmata versus Christine. Another movie, Stigmata, that when I don't think of it as a horror movie sometimes.
I don't think we've ever watched it together, but I genuinely really like that movie.
Stigmata? I like it, yeah. I don't think, like I said, I don't think of it necessarily as a horror movie.
No, that one I don't either. But
people online seem to classify. I think because it has, like, demonic possession stuff. It's got some religious stuff to it.
I mean, what else would you call it in all honesty when you throw them in there?
I guess, yeah. When you start getting into, like, demonic possession, that usually that's why I put it into this category for demonic possession or possession movies of some type. You going with Stigmata over the car movie? Stephen King in a car?
No, I mean...
Christine's a movie I don't really like all that much.
Look, my 96 Saturn would be so upset if I didn't choose Christine.
All right.
Wait, no, Carrie. Wait, gosh darn it.
I don't know which one you called your car.
Wrong movie. That changes everything.
You already picked Carrie over there. I can see how you could get those confused.
I think I'm going to go with Stigmata.
Stigmata. All right. Insidious versus The Omen. The original, not the remake.
Insidious.
This one I chose. I don't think you like this movie because there's a scene that I know is very problematic. Drag Me to Hell versus Children of the Corn.
It's a very tough movie because I do love the movie Drag Me to Hell. However, I also just think it's really fucked up. I could never imagine this happening to me, just like, better kill like I did. No, I mean, like, I feel like there's probably a different way to practice the sacrifice.
Yeah, that is a part of that is a thing that happens.
Also, it's like, good thing you didn't have a fucking kid.
Yeah.
It's like, put them in the blender.
Yeah. You going with Children of the Corn?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love me some blonde weirdo babies.
Paranormal Activity versus Evil Dead Rise. Speaking of Demons 2, another movie that's very similar to Demons 2.
Oh.
I figured out after
Mommy
watching.
didn't breastfeed me.
I really liked that movie. I
did too.
Good. I thought it was very, very good. Some people online didn't like it, and I was like, it seemed like they were going for like a Demons 2 ripoff, and I was here for it. I'm like, I love Demons 2. Give me a horror movie in a high-rise apartment. Seems like an unused setting for a horror movie. Like, if you've lived in a high-rise apartment, those places can be fucking terrifying, especially when you're going downstairs at night to do something when it's all quiet. You go down like little tiny hallways that aren't very well lit. Like, yeah, that shit could be fucking creepy as hell. You could do all kinds of stuff with that. So are you going with Evil Dead Rise, the demonic possession in the high rise, or the Paranormal Activity?
I think I might have to go with Paranormal Activity. I really do just think, like...
It's a good movie.
It was so good. I really do... It went buck wild with, like, the
other ones get stupid as hell real fast. Like, when they start trying to force a plot into it and make it all about, like...
Yeah, they could have just kept that going, that same thing. I would have watched every one of them.
Yeah, the daughters being related to some, like, women's cult worshipping thing, and then... It got kind of weird and wacky, but the first one has stood up pretty
yeah, it
well.
Still stands up too.
Because if it is pretty effective.
It's still a good watch.
Yeah, it's pretty effective if you're ever like in a brand new house or anything that's like weird. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, there are some weird noises that I'm not used to. Yeah. All right, Shaun of the Dead versus Street Trash. Oh shit, I fucked up. Hold on to that. We forgot. We have our other play-in one. An American Werewolf in London versus Dead Alive.
Oh, that's just rude.
Rudy Tooty.
I mean, American Werewolf in London.
Okay, Tremors versus Zombieland.
Is that Tremors?
Tremors, yes. Tremors. Tremors versus An American Werewolf in London.
Still American Werewolf in London.
Okay, now we move back to Shaun of the Dead versus Street Trash, a movie that apparently they are remaking.
Really?
That's what I read online. That's what the internet tells me.
I desperately wish I still had like the weird... Didn't it come with a scent thing?
I do not know.
I feel like
you had a copy of it when I met
I
you. We
feel
still own
like
a copy
it
of it.
came with a scent thing or something, right? Like you scratch it, like you smelled the trash.
Huh. That's interesting. I was gonna say we own a DVD copy of it, but not the case. It's one of the ones that you have like in your binder.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Lisa Frankenstein versus Arachnophobia.
No, John Goodman.
I guess he's going away.
No, I don't know. I love that man.
Yeah. If you've never seen Arachnophobia, a surprisingly funny movie. Yeah, it's a very, very funny movie.
No,
For
I'm
also
still gonna
being a
have to
pretty
go
good
with
horror
Frankenhacker.
No, Lisa Frankenstein. Are you going with
Oh
that one?
shit.
Does
Yeah,
that change things?
Arachnophobia.
Oh, Arachnophobia over Lisa Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Okay. The new classic does not take it.
It's cute. I like it. I don't think it's Arachnophobia good.
Critters versus Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That's the one I went with as well. Club Dread versus Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors.
I love Club Dread. That's one of my favorite horror movies. If you've never seen Club Dread, it is the guys that did. They're doing a TV show now, but they're the Broken Lizards guys. The thing they're most probably known for is Super Troopers, but they also did a horror movie with Bill Pullman.
It is very funny.
Yeah, he's basically playing like Jimmy Buffett, and there's like a killer on the loose, and it's just a silly movie. Lost Boys versus Gremlins.
Lost Boys.
Death Becomes Her versus Serial Mom.
Death Becomes Her.
It's a good time. Return of the Living Dead versus Scary Movie.
Return of the Living Dead.
What We Do in the Shadows versus An American Werewolf in London.
American Werewolf in London.
Okay. So we have finished the first round, and now we move to the second round. So here we go. Alien versus Predator. Not the movie, but a matchup. A classic one that's happened many times.
And what does that mean? Like I'm...
Alien, the movie, versus Predator.
Oh, Alien versus Predator.
See, this is where
okay.
I can tell that your naivete was the reference I made was lost. There's a video game and another movie series about Alien versus Predator, as opposed to like the matchup. I didn't want you to get.
So which one is it? Now you have confused me.
We're talking about the movie Alien versus the movie Predator.
Okay.
Not the movie Alien versus Predator.
I would never have thought that unless you said that.
This is why I shouldn't make references sometimes. Okay. Alien versus Predator. Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, I think it's gonna be my girl and her cat.
You're going with
Story of a girl and her cat.
Sigourney. All right. Cloverfield versus Carrie.
Carrie.
Carrie does abide on through. The Faculty versus Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps moves on. And then Prey versus They Live.
Prey.
Yeah. Okay, so Predator does not win, but Prey does win. Do you like Prey more than Predator, or does it just
I really do like Prey. I think that movie. I mean, I also like, Predator's an OG, but like, Prey, like, I don't know. That scratches my brain. Something good.
It's good. It's really, really good. Troll 2 versus Ernest Scared Stupid. That's a tough one.
You know, the child in me is going to go with Ernest.
Ernest it is. Descent versus Green Room.
I have to go with Descent on that one.
Descent, the caves beat the punk rock movie.
I feel like somehow I will be more likely to be trapped in a cave than in a Nazi bar.
Well, welcome to America. You never know these days. Reanimator versus Abigail.
Reanimator.
Reanimate. And Leprechaun in the Hood versus Frankenhooker.
No.
It's a tough one.
gonna have to be Frankenhooker.
That's what I thought you were gonna go with.
Very tough choice on that one.
Frankenhooker. All right, Sleepy Hollow versus Rhinefield.
Rhinefield.
Rhinefield it is. That's a good movie. One of Nicolas Cage's better movies. Creature from the Black Lagoon versus Dracula.
Creature.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers versus Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
And Night of the Living Dead versus The Shining.
Night of the Living Dead.
Night. All right. So that finishes one side. Let's move on to the other, and we'll be almost done. Strangeland versus Slumber Party Massacre 2. Dee Snider versus The Driller Killer.
That is very tough.
It is a tough one. Travis had never seen Slumber Party Massacre 2, and I lost a little respect for him in that moment. He had seen the first one, but he had never seen the second one. And
you should tell him that it's a sequel, just to...
I told him he should watch it, because I was like, you don't need to have seen the first one to even watch the second one. Like, they're virtually not connected. Like, I didn't see the first Slumber Party Massacre before I watched the second one.
Really? No, I was completely opposite. No. I went in that blind.
Slumber Party Massacre 2 was a movie I saw a clip of on like a YouTube video, and I saw like the driller killer dancing and doing rockabilly, and I was like, I need to figure out what movie is a horror movie with rockabilly, because I was really into rockabilly. I was listening to the Stray Cats a lot, Rock Pile, shit like that, and then found that movie, and that's how I got into Slumber Party Massacre, was that way.
No, I found it organically, like before the internet became what the internet is. I was just like assuming it was going to be a sequel of some sort.
Nope. It kind of picks up where the other one left off.
Yeah, they are related.
It changes some things.
But other than that.
Yeah, no, you don't have to have watched them at all. So you going with Slumber Party or Strange Love?
Strangeland.
Sorry, Strange Love. Strange Land. All right, Strange Land it is. I'm sorry if you hear the police sirens back there. That's not something that you normally hear. Sleepaway Camp versus I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Sleepaway Camp.
All right. Halloween versus Scream. That is a toughie.
It is. Choosing between my darlings.
Yeah, I think I would have to go with... That is tough.
Are you trying to influence me?
No, I'm not. I have a personal connection with Scream, because that was like one of the first horror movies I ever saw as like a 10, 11-year-old, however old I was when I first saw it. Like,
oh,
and
I got introduced to,
but
way too early.
I watched Halloween for a while of my life. I watched Halloween every single Halloween for like almost all of my 20s.
I mean, everyone did.
Kind of turned it into I would like marathon them all.
That's pretty common too.
Kind of do like a little ritual thing of it. Okay.
They literally used to do that on TV.
That's what I used to watch on TV. And, it was on the AMC channel back in the day. But Scream has a set, I don't know which one. That's a tough one, but the choice is not mine to make.
I think I'm going to have to go with Halloween on this one.
Halloween. All right. Silence of the Lambs versus Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
No.
No. Just write down.
No.
They both win.
Everyone can be a winner.
That's the problem with us millennials, apparently.
Them damn trophies.
We sat there while our parents gave us participation trophies and did nothing. And how dare we to have done that?
I think I'm going to go Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 on that one.
All right. Texas 2. All right. Exorcist versus Jennifer's Body.
Jennifer's Body.
Jennifer. Night of the Demons versus Wicker Man.
Wicker Man.
All right. Stigmata versus Insidious.
Insidious.
That is a good movie. Children of the Corn versus Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activity. I feel like I've watched that far more.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay, Street Trash versus Arachnophobia.
I think I'll have to go with Street Trash on that one.
Trash. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Little Shop of Horrors.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Clowning it up. The Lost Boys versus Death Becomes Her. Another one where you just do no.
No.
The first Lost Boys isn't even your favorite Lost Boys.
It is not. The Tribe is actually my favorite.
Which is an interesting story unto itself with that whole situation. Yeah.
The Tribe, I mean.
No, how I just meant like in our personal life, how we came.
Oh, that I tested you with it?
Yes, that was apparently a test movie.
Frankenhooker and the Tribe.
Yeah, I had to pass that. I was like, okay.
I'll pass the vibe checks.
Frankenhooker I'm fine with, but Lost Boys, the Tribe, like, all right, okay.
I'm a multifaceted.
Like, what a weird second choice. Like, okay.
Keep you guessing.
I mean, my test movie was Caligula, so there was that.
I feel like you got let off like really easily.
And then what was that? That Rodney Dangerfield soccer movie.
Oh, Ladybugs.
Ladybugs, yeah, where the kid named Matthew dresses up as a female so he can help his stepfather win a soccer tournament for money and promotion at work. Sounds a lot darker than it is. It's actually it's kind of dark. Honestly, it's a pretty disturbing movie if you watch it.
Were you listening to that podcast with me where they were talking about Rodney Dangerfield? And she was talking about, like, what you find, like, when you're funny, because, like, you don't really understand it, and, like, humor change, etc. But it was, like, Rodney Dangerfield, where apparently he had a line where he'd be like, I'm quite the ladies' man. I'm a rapist. And she was like, I was like a child laughing at that.
It's a pretty bad joke. It's a pretty bad joke.
Just like... What person green? You know what?
It was a different time.
Different time.
It was a different time. Oh, somehow we got off track. Lost Boys versus Death Becomes Her. Our dog has given up life, it looks like.
I have to go with Lost Boys.
Lost Boys. Getting lost. Getting loose.
Getting lost in the sauce.
All right. Return of the Living Dead versus An American Werewolf in London.
American Werewolf in London.
American Werewolf. Okay. So we have gotten down to I was going to say Elite 8, but there's more than that. So I don't know how many there are. That's too much math for me to do. We'll do math here in a second when we get down to the next category because we got a couple more to eliminate, and then we'll get down to some of our final matchups. Alien versus Carrie.
Alien.
Alien is the winner there. Night of the Creeps versus Prey.
Night of the Creeps.
Okay, that's where Prey ends, huh?
That's where I draw the line.
That's where you draw the line. Not there yet. Ernest Scared Stupid versus The Descent.
The Descent.
Jim Varney, I'm
that
sorry.
hurts to say.
It's okay.
The Descent's a comfort movie.
Well, Jim Varney's dead, so his
yeah,
family,
he doesn't
his
know.
family had a lot riding on this. There's lawyer will be in contact with you. Reanimator versus Frankenhooker. That was a hard one. That was
I don't like that.
I don't like that.
I have to go with Frankenhooker on that.
Frankenhooker. That makes sense. Doing it for the girls. Creature from the Black Lagoon versus Rhinefield.
Rhinefield.
All right. And Nosferatu versus Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. Nosferatu, get out of here. Creepy vampire. Strangeland versus Sleepaway Camp.
Both have twists. Both have a twist.
Yeah, they do.
Both get real. I'm gonna have to go with Strangeland. I mean, it really...
A dark horse. One, probably of all of these, probably the one that most of people listening to this have probably not seen.
I get it.
It's a fun time. It's a fun time. Halloween versus Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
All right. The massacre continues. Jennifer's Body versus Wicker Man.
Oh no.
It's a tough
I'm
one.
gonna have to go with... I have to go with the Wicker Man.
Wicker Man. Jennifer's Body ends it there. Insidious versus Paranormal Activity. Insidious. I like Insidious. Of all of like the modern horror movies,
I
it's one
do
of my
think it
favorite
was
movies.
one of the better ones that have come out. Like,
Yeah, of the modern ones, it's
Yeah.
pretty good. Street Trash versus Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Excuse me. These are difficult.
tough choices.
Uh-huh.
I have to go Street Trash.
Street Trash. Lost Boys versus An American Werewolf in London.
American Werewolf in London.
American Werewolf in London. Okay, so we have gotten it down quite a bit. Now we're going to make some final choices, and then we'll get down to your final six, and then from there, you can we'll get down to our last of our last. Alien versus Night of the Creeps.
At the end of the day, I'm just a girl with a cat.
Alien it is. Going with the Ripley, girl with the cat. Descent versus Frankenhooker. These both have girls.
Oh
It's
no!
a tough one for you.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to go with Frankenhooker. You know,
Yeah.
I watched The Descent more,
Yeah.
but I still actually like the movie Frankenhooker more.
Yeah.
I just can't fall asleep to it as well.
That's fair. Rhinefield versus Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead.
All right. Strangeland versus Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Oh no!
Get a lot of things to choose from there.
I think I'm still gonna have to go with Texas, but it does hurt. I love you, D.
Wicker Man versus Insidious.
Wicker Man.
Yeah. And Street Trash versus An American Werewolf in London.
American Werewolf in London.
Alrighty, so we get down to our final six. So your final six are Alien, Frankenhooker, Night of the Living Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, The Wicker Man, and An American Werewolf in London.
I feel like that sums up me as a person.
I feel like that sums you up. I
that's
feel like,
it.
yeah.
If you were like, these are this person's favorite movies. And you're
Honestly,
like,
the only one that stood out to me as kind of being a dark horse that I didn't expect was Night of the Living Dead. After knowing you for about a decade now, I didn't think that one would win, but I think of that was of the paired with a lot of classics. But there's a lot of movies that weren't in here. There's no Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. There's no Chud or Bud the Chud.
No.
There's no Ravenous.
No.
There's a lot that I left off. I didn't do all the Halloween movies, so there's not Halloween 2, which is not very good.
No.
But Halloween 3 is pretty good.
It's pretty solid, yeah.
Season of the Witch isn't on here, so there's a lot of things I left off. So there was too many movies. Literally, I could have just kept going, and this would have taken a lot longer. But so now we do our final, and then we'll get down to our final three, and then from there you got some choices you'll have to make. Alien versus Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Alrighty, sorry Ripley. You get eaten up by Leatherface. Frankenhooker versus Wicker Man.
Oh no.
Uh-huh.
Hello, Ronnie. What do you think?
Frankenhooker.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Frankenhooker.
Frankenhooker it is.
Tough choice.
And American Werewolf in London versus Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, American Werewolf in London.
So your last three then would be Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Frankenhooker, and American Werewolf in London. Those, I think, are pretty much your three favorite movies. From there, you would just choose one. I don't even know if you...
I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
It's like asking me to choose between my cats.
Yeah, it would be difficult. So I think we could just end it with those three.
I
Make a
think we
three-way
should,
tie. We just
yeah.
push. Are you doing another no and refusing to answer? I won't choose between those three.
I just don't think I should have to.
They're all three really good. I mean,
also, I genuinely cannot tell you because they're all top tier.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I was gonna say, yeah. There's those are all really, really good ones. So the one like going back through and a lot of it, like I said early on, we definitely differed on a lot. But as we continued on, like I went with I'll try to choose some ones that you obviously went different than I did on. You chose The Faculty. I did not. You chose Night of the Creeps. I did not.
You were wrong.
I went with Green Room for a while because I really like Green Room.
It is a great movie.
I did not choose Leprechaun in the Hood. I also did not choose
probably most people wouldn't.
I did not choose Frankenhooker.
You know what's crazy? Leprechaun in the Hood was on the TV today. I was like, are you kidding me? I'd recognize that scene anywhere.
Speaking of Leprechaun, Tales from the Hood is also not on here at all. So there's also the Snoop Dogg horror movie Bones. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to avoid movies that I knew that you hadn't seen because...
You think I haven't seen Bones?
Well, I didn't know.
I know Bones.
I didn't know. I feel like it's just an odd question to sit around and ask your wife when you're sitting around, middle eating dinner. You ever seen Bones? The
I
Snoop
feel
Dogg
like
horror
we
movie?
have talked about the movie Bones.
We have, but I don't know the last time when. So
I think I was pro bono. Pro bono.
Pro bono. So those are the three that we ended up with. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Frankenhooker, and An American Werewolf in London. All three of those movies we watch at least once a year.
Far more than
I feel like we've seen this played out pretty well. I feel like, we'll have to do this again with a few different categories and see what we'll come back with because it seems like it's been fun so far. Thank you guys for listening and giving us a like and subscribe and all those things, how to do all that stuff. I don't have to go over in detail. I'm assuming if you found your way here, you know how to use the internet. So good on you. It's hard out there. Our cat's doing something goofy again. Thank you guys for listening. I'm getting super congested all of a sudden, so that means I'm probably going to get sick again. So we're going to get off of here and see you guys later. And thanks once again. Do you want to say anything for the people that are listening?
Farewell.
Fare thee well, as Shakespeare would say. And goodbye.